Hey guys, Simply Fresh here from Tag TV, giving you an in-depth look at one of several Cyclops builds that I personally use for PvE. In this PvE build, I focus a lot on passive dodge, single target damage, AoE, and vulnerability. Starting off with his optics tree, I maxed out Ricochet Blast. This is Cyclops' most viable AoE power, as it is free to cast, allowing you to spam the power indefinitely. The more you cast this ability, the more lasers will bounce in areas that are heavily crowded with enemies. For single target damage, I maxed out Optic Barrage. This power is great for taking down single yellow enemies and bosses. The slow debuff also helps against powerful single targets that are melee or close range. As long as you keep your distance from these types of enemies, they won't be able to reach you. The rate of fire is also incredibly fast, quite possibly the fastest power in the entire game, and the overall burst is exceptional over a short period of time. Next is his fighting tree. I maxed out Side Roll. This is ideal for giving yourself a passive dodge buff. Although it only lasts 5 seconds, the spirit cost is low, allowing you to spam it every 6 seconds. It's also great against bosses. If you're good enough to time it, you can easily dodge any attack that a boss throws at you. Not only do you mitigate 100% of damage when you dodge an attack, you also gain a massive dodge buff, allowing you to proc dodge if you don't manage to dodge the next attack. Lastly, Uncanny Focus is another important power for Cyclops that I maxed out. Not only does it give a massive dodge bonus, it also allows you to restore a large amount of spirit when you're not using a spirit spending power, and allows you to restore a % amount of spirit when you proc dodge. This passive ability is always recommended for any Cyclops build you use. This power makes it so that you almost have unlimited spirit at all times. In his tactics tree, I maxed out Tactical Command. Cyclops' overall DPS is quite low in comparison to other heroes, so gaining any kind of damage rating buff from any and every source is important in order to increase his overall DPS. At max level, the debuff will last almost 20 seconds and covers a wide area when you cast it, so there's no need to spam this power. Click once or twice just to make sure the enemies you are fighting are debuffed, and pew pew away. The next power I maxed out in his tactics tree is Defensive Tactician, another passive that is highly recommended. It gives Cyclops a huge dodge rating buff. I cannot stress how important dodge is to Cyclops. It's really his only source of damage mitigation. Knowing this, dodge is the most important stat that Cyclops needs. In the remaining points, I put 1 point into Concussive Force. This allows for some form of crowd control against large amounts of enemies. It's especially ideal when used in conjunction with Ricochet Blast, as it will knock down any enemy that is hit. I put 1 point into Combat Roll, which I personally use for travel and repositioning myself on the field. It's also great for creating distance between melee or close range enemies. I also put 1 point into Timely Renewal, which further increases my spirit regen and keeps your spirit from draining, which allows you to spam your spirit spending powers more often. And finally, the remaining points into Rallying Command. This is great for removing any kind of crowd control, which also makes you immune to the last CC power you were hit by for a short duration. It's also spammable, so you shouldn't be CC'd at any time as long as you have this power. For any and every build for Cyclops, you will want to build him as a ranged glass cannon hero. For stat priority, I highly recommend crit rating, crit damage, attack speed, and +1 or more to all powers or optics. If you can also increase your energy stat rating without compromising your other stats at the same time, then that's a huge bonus. For my items, starting with the artifacts, I am using a advanced metasensory array. This is great for the +1 to all powers, the flat damage rating, and the attack speed. The more attack speed you can get on Cyclops, the better. Attack speed will increase the overall DPS of Ricochet Blast, by increasing the rate of fire. A higher rate of fire for Ricochet Blast allows for more lasers to bounce at one time. This also helps with Optic Barrage. The more missiles you can shoot, the more damage your Optic Barrage will do per second. The next artifact is Zero Gin Crystal. This is great for its attack speed bonus and a bonus to Brutal Strike. It also gives a flat damage rating to all of Cyclops' DPS powers. So this artifact does provide Cyclops with everything he needs to improve his overall DPS. The next artifact is the Shield Motion Tracker, which I got from the Super Heroic storyline. This artifact does require you to play a certain way. This particular PvE build makes Cyclops a far-range glass cannon hero with high single target damage thanks to Optic Barrage. With the 14% increase in overall damage rating at a distance, this is a great way to increase Cyclops' overall DPS without being in range of getting hurt from enemies. The last artifact is Ziggurat of Kargul. It provides the two main stats that Cyclops needs in order to dish out as much damage as possible. It also gives Cyclops a blinking ability for easier travel. It allows you to travel through walls and across vast lands without having to waste your spirit. And for the relic, I am using a Relic of Atlantis, as it does increase Cyclops' crit damage. For the costume affixes, you'll want to roll crit damage for all 4 grades, for grade 1, 2, 3, and 4. Keep going until you get a decent roll, and then just stick with it. For the costume core, you'll want to get a minimum of 0.8% lifesteal or higher, which helps when you're using the Ziggurat artifact to travel, because the Ziggurat artifact does cost 5% of your current health, so the lifesteal will be able to get that HP back for you. And it's also great for staying alive when your medikits or your medkits are on cooldown. For my action bar, I placed Ricochet Blast into my left click and Optic Barrage into my right click. These are your two main DPS powers, so easy access and ease of use is important for these two powers. It also allows me to spam both skills at the same time, combining Ricochet Blast and Optic Barrage in one attack cycle. I place Rallying Command into Q for quick access with my ring finger, Tactical Command on W for my middle finger, and Combat Roll on E for my index finger. Side Roll is placed on R for quick access for my index finger, which I use to alternate back and forth between E and R. I put my Ziggurat of Kargul artifact on D and Veteran Command on F. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys how this PvE build works in real time. So I'm going to go ahead and enter a red terminal, tier 4 red terminal, and I'll choose Taskmaster Institute. And I also forgot to mention earlier that my concussive force is actually hotkeyed to my number 3 and Optic Barrage on number 2. Because concussive force is a passively activated ability, all you gotta do is just turn it on once and then switch to Optic Barrage, and that's it. And that's on my right click. So I'm gonna try my best to show you how this build works in real time and what the action bar and the skill order, how important these are for the build. So I'm just going to go ahead here and move on. I turned on my minimap so that I can use the effect of Shield Motion Tracker. So now I can see all the dots on the screen. Now in this situation, when you have multiple targets lined up like that, you'll want to always use Tactical Command. And as you can see, they are buffed with that red cloud. That means they are debuffed. So I'm just going to go ahead and use Ricochet Blast a few times, and they are all dead. So you want to keep your distance from your enemies so that you can gain the full effect of Shield Motion Tracker. And you just want to use Ricochet Blast, and that is it. On single targets, I like to use Optic Barrage just to take them out really quickly. Less than 1 second and they're dead. Now I see there's a lot of red dots here, so these guys are melee, so you'll want to keep your distance. So you'll want to activate Tactical Command, debuff them, use Combat Roll to gain your distance and repositioning, and then use Ricochet Blast. 1 target left, Optic Barrage, done. There's a ton of red dots here. You'll want to debuff them with Tactical Command, and then Ricochet Blast. Keep your distance with your Combat Roll. The only time you really need to use your side roll is when you're in close range and you need to have your dodge rating buffed up so that you can survive. And you can use E combat roll to travel, like that. Combined with Ziggurat, it's pretty fast. Now I got a lot of red dots here. I'm gonna debuff these guys. So I'm gonna kill all the ads first, and use Ziggurat to teleport over obstacles. So you're gonna want to use Tactical Command on these guys and just keep your distance with Combat Roll. And they go down. Now I'm going to show you how all the skills work in conjunction together in a fast-paced real-time action. Starting now.
Step it up, people.
If you ever feel the need to increase your dodge chance, basically the side roll only allows you to dodge to the right. So in this case, if you're dodging to the right but the enemies are right here, you'll want to use combat roll to reposition yourself. And then when you'll know that your dodge rating is up, you'll see a blue aura around your body, and when that's gone, you just press side roll again and you got your dodge rating back. As you can see here, I am combining my left and right click together, giving me AoE damage and single target damage at the same time. For my basic attack on the left click for Ricochet Blast, I keybinded my spacebar for stationary attacking, so I don't move when I left click. So in this, you're gonna have to use side roll and combat roll quite a bit. When he gets close, just use side roll and he misses. And just keep your distance with your E. And there you go. As you can see there, I barely lost any health, and he probably only hit me once or twice, and it was pretty easy. And that concludes your in-depth look at one of my several Cyclops builds for PvE. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you'd like to keep in touch with Tri-Atlas Gaming, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. Links are in the description below. Thanks for watching.